Saleh is a senior lecturer in international relations and Middle East studies at Australia National University. He joins me from Leeds in the UK. Really good to see you. First of all, what do you make about these, what appears to be talks, about the talks in Qatar?
Well, actually, since Secretary Blinken's first visit to the region, 32,000 people have been killed in Gaza. So the Gaza doesn't need more talks and more visits. Actually, it desperately needs more actions. It seems like Secretary Blinken or Washington is buying time for Israel to finish their job. But this is particularly important since Washington cannot be a serious mediator or a fair one, simply because at the same time it rejected the ceasefire in the Security Councils 3 times at least, and also at the same time is supporting Israel militarily and sending bombs to Israel, and at the same time attempts to make a ceasefire. That does not necessarily work together. Therefore, I would argue that this is just a talks for talks and not necessarily leading into any tangible act that would stop the death of people in Gaza. If not by bombs, they are dying by hunger.
Yeah, that said, though, there has clearly been a deterioration in relations between Israel and the US, because Antony Blinken wasn't supposed to be visiting Israel on this trip, but now suddenly he might be going to Tel Aviv. I mean, it's been reported he might be going to Tel Aviv on Friday, but we're still not sure if that's been confirmed or not. These are two close allies that in the past you would have known whether he was going to visit Israel on a trip to the Middle East or not. So clearly there's been a deterioration.
Well, yeah, of course, there are changes in rhetoric. That's as a result of the international societies putting further pressures on Washington, actually, simply because they have, again, stopped the ceasefire in the Security Council 3 times by vetoing it. And the international society is asking United States, so what's the alternative? What is your strategy? What do you want to do next? Just simply allowing and helping Israel to do whatever they want in Gaza is not a strategy, and therefore you really need to do something. So this rhetoric does not necessarily lead to any positive consequences or changing the situation, the catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza today. United States need to do things, need to push Israel seriously to stop the what's happening in Gaza, the genocide or the ethnic cleansing that we are witnessing in Gaza.
So are you a little bit more optimistic about the talks that are happening in Qatar? I mean, we heard from a Qatari official yesterday. He was saying that they felt that the talks between the main players, Hamas and Israel, were optimistic. Do you concur with that?
Yeah, Qatar is the more serious mediator because of their historical relations with Hamas. But what we see at the same time is that Egypt cannot be also a country that would like this to end easily. The only problem they have is that some people from Gaza move to Egypt that would have some security, economic, and political consequences for Cairo. That's their only concern. Therefore, Qatar is alone in pushing the United States or facilitating talks, which still we see that as long as Tel Aviv is not ready to compromise, they are seeking an absolute victory, which is impossible. That's not possible over in Gaza with 2 million people to eradicate Hamas. Hamas is not a classic regular army to be defeated. it's amongst the people, is there amongst the people and cannot be distinguished. So therefore, this is the Tel Aviv's call for absolute victory. It is definitely would hinder the talks, not only this time but also in the future.
Really appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you, Alam Saleh, Senior Lecturer in International Relations and Middle East Studies at Australian National University, joining us live from the UK.